Hello, everybody. On today's episode, we are talking about how the internet was invented. I'm not sure about you, but I know I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, but I have still always wondered about how this amazing thing we call the internet came to be. It always seems like magic the way everything just works smoothly. You message somebody from London and they reply from New York in seconds. Well, today we are going to deep dive into how it all came to be. It all started because the United States was jealous of the Soviets. There was a period of war known as the Cold War. This wasn't your conventional war fought with guns and bombs. It was a war fought on computers and between hackers. The byproduct of this war was the space race, which saw America compete with Russia to see who could get to space faster or land on the moon first. During this period, America was paranoid that Russia was beating them to cutting-edge technology, so they wanted to keep an eye on them. The Defense Agency of America, also known as DARPA, appointed somebody to be on the phone 24/7. Well, this soon proved to be inefficient, so DARPA felt like they needed something that could do this for them automatically on a computer, something like a network. But the problem was that during that time, the computers that existed were called mainframes. They were huge, clunky computers that could only perform complex mathematical problems. They weren't even too good at that, too. So lots of computers were usually assigned to a single problem, or a problem was solved multiple times. During that time, phones were connected using phone lines, so an engineer at DARPA thought that instead of connecting phones using a phone line, a network could be created by connecting these mainframes using a phone line. This was where ARPA was created, an affiliate of DARPA dedicated to creating this network. Please subscribe.
Whatever. Please I want to reach 1 million likes. So please sarapakara. Yes. Okay, thank you.
ARPA called their network ARPANET. It was a network of mainframes located at different universities across the United States, like UCLA. This first network only consisted of 4 total computers, all bounded by phone lines. ARPANET continued with this until they encountered a problem. The problem was circuit switching. The phones at the time only worked with circuit switching. It took a minute for me to understand circuit switching, because of my smooth brain, but it basically means only 2 phones could work on the same phone line. So, if you were to call your friend, only your phone and your friend's phone must be the only phones on the phone line, that is, online. But the modern internet wouldn't be able to function this way, simply because multiple computers need to be able to work at the same time, performing different tasks. So, ARPANET invented their smartest invention, packet switching. This allowed different computers send the same information along different wires connected together, and they were sent bit by bit, so that if the receiver found out that one of the wires was faulty and wasn't sending the correct information, just a bit of the information would be affected, not the whole thing. This gives time to resend that bit, and then get the full information through another wire. A message is known as a packet. Every packet had an identification attached to it, like a string of numbers representing the computer where the information was headed. The sending computer would search for the ID of the receiving computer on a table and the network on it, and then it would send the packet to whatever computer was nearest to that address. The second computer in the network would look up the ID of the receiver and send the packet to the next computer closest to that address again, until it finally gets to the intended receiver. This seemed like a perfect model for the internet, but there were problems because as more computers joined the network, an updated list of all the computers' addresses needed to be kept, and this was done manually. In 1973, ARPANET selected Stanford as the official address keeper. This allowed ARPANET to grow from 60 computers in the early 70s to about 110 by 1977. ARPANET's satellite first connected from California to Hawaii, but was later joined by London and Norway. By this time, more networks were popping up, some with even more computers than ARPANET, but the messages were designed differently for each. So, using different network providers on the same network was a horrible user experience. Later, a solution was proposed to solve this problem. Known as TCP/IP Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, which is still used today. TCP ensured that messages were formatted the same way no matter the network, so as to improve user experience, while IP created a standard for assigning addresses to computers so that messages being sent could have a clear path. Different networks connecting together can technically be called the Internet, but since it was still all controlled by ARPANET, the correct term to use is intranet. Since there were now more efficient ways of assigning addresses and packets, the record keepers at Stanford couldn't keep up. Email was invented in 1971 so that a person sending a packet could do so by using his first name and the name of the computer joined by the @ symbol for better readability. By 1973, more than 75% of ARPANET's messages were made up of emails, but not all computers had the same email programs, so people had to keep a book or map of the whole network in order to send emails. Due to this, the engineers at ARPANET figured that the whole structure of the intranet had to change. So the engineers invented the DNS, Domain Name System. This allowed the host to be arranged into domains. The domains were ranked into top-level domains, like the .com or .org domain, and the second-level domains, which were contained in the top-level domains. For example, instead of an email like akm@example, you would instead have an email like akm@example.com. The top-level domain in this instance is .com, while the second-level domain is example. This organized different computer hosts all over the world in a way that was practical for computers to work with. They also added a network whose job was to monitor addresses. So now, whenever you wanted to send an email, you didn't need a map. The DNS handled all that for you. It still does. So whenever you click to watch a video on Facebook.com, you tell the DNS that you want to visit the second-level domain, .com, on the top-level domain, Facebook. The DNS server then points Facebook to the exact video you want to watch. The intranet became the Internet when DARPA stopped this from being a private project and made sure that computers all over the world were connected without private intervention, which in simple terms gave us the Internet. So, in actual fact, no person or body invented the Internet. We all did, by creating videos, liking, subscribing, and sharing videos. We all have a hand in creating this humble jumble that nobody understands known as the Internet.